Many students, ladies and gentlemen, will always fail this advanced AFM paper because students do not understand how to discount. Very many students in this case have got an issue with discounting. Have an issue with discounting. They have an issue with discounting. Even in this class like today, we are 112. I'm 100% sure if I give you a simple question where I give you cash flows, most of you will not be able to discount. Remember, in terms of discounting, we have what we call irregular cash flows. We have irregular cash flows, and then number two, we have what we call the regular cash flows. The regular cash flows, please, you must write this very fast. We have irregular cash flows, and then we have regular cash flows. So irregular cash flows, as the name suggests here, these are the non-uniform. And the non-uniform, normally, we use what we call the PVIF. Non-uniform, normally, we use what we call the PVIF. Non-uniform, normally, we use what we call the PVIF. PVIF is present value interest factor. To discount irregular, we normally use present value interest factor. And then to discount these regular, which are also known as uniform cash flows, we normally use the PVIFA, present value interest factor of an annuity. Present value interest factor of an annuity. Is there somebody here who is able to remind Mwalimu the formula of PVIF? Is there somebody who is able to remind Mwalimu the formula of PVIF? Is there anybody who is able to remind Mwalimu the formula of PVIF for present value interest factor? Present value interest factor, present value interest factor. I can see what Macharia is writing there. Macharia, you are using a negative somewhere wrongly. PVIF is the easier formula. It is 1 plus R raised to negative N. Please, inside there is a plus. Inside there, we have a plus like that. So anytime you are told, like now here, you are told here that Jacqueline is quite a lucky lady. Jacqueline is quite a lucky lady. She's done some business in this case here, and there is somebody who has promised to give her 1 million Kenya shillings in 2 years' time. So the 1 million is a lump sum, receivable one-off, right? So you cannot see anything uniform there. You know, it becomes uniform if it's 1 million year one, 1 million year two, 1 million year three, that is uniformity now. But when it's lump sum or fluctuating, then we shall be using PVIF to discount such cash flows. So under PVIF, ladies and gentlemen, it is 1 plus R raised to negative who? To negative N, like that. Great. And then now we have what we call PVIFA. I'm so sure most of us will not be able to remember the formula of PVIFA, present value interest factor of an annuity. Present value interest factor of an annuity. Suyanka already has written a formula. Suyanka is quite right. A unique name. A unique name. Great. Caris, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So to get PVIFA, we normally say 1 minus this easier formula. 1 minus the easier formula. 1 minus the easier formula. 1 minus this easier formula. And then everything you divide by who? Everything you divide by R. 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 Everything. Thank you very much. Everything. Ogero ya. Everything you divide by who? By R, like that. Now, so we know that all students, of course, appreciate these formulas very well. But if I'm given a chance to set an exam, like we did in April 2022, this is normally how we do it. You know, this is a paper that requires a sadist of an examiner. For you to be able to examine this paper very well as an examiner, you must be a sadist. You must be a sadist. So what you will do, you will come and give these students this kind of a cash flow. So you will give them here. You do like this. And then you give them cash flows here. This is what you do as an examiner. And these will be able to confuse very many students, over 80% of the students. So tell them, in year 1, we expect to get a cash flow of 10. In year 2, we expect to get a cash flow of 15. And then come and give them now here, year 3 to year 5, we expect to get a cash flow of 8, and then come and give them the 𝐶 is 10%, 𝐶 is 10%, and then tell them required, determine total present value, just like this, determine total present value, determine total present value. This is what you do as a good examiner. This way, I'm so sure I'll be able to kick off most of the students from the lane that is going towards what you are passing. You throw them out of the bus, you throw them out of the bus. Initial outlay, I don't need it because I don't want net present value. I only want present value. I only want present value. Please, jaribu harakisha kidogo. I can see what Jacqueline Ochola is telling me. International disaster. I can see Oleketere. Yeah, at least we use PVIF. Are you sure you're going to use PVIF throughout? What about these years? When they talk of 3 to 5, what does this mean? It means that end of year 3, end of year 4, end of year 5, I'll be getting an annuity of 8888. 3 to 5. So here I can see an annuity, and the 2 year I'm going to use PVIF. Okay, so we start with PVIF. The first 2, of course, they are not debatable. The first 2, they are not debatable. 𝐶 stands for cost of capital, isn't it? 𝐶 stands for cost of capital. Great. So then what we shall do here, we shall be able to get all the marks here. I know for year 1 all the way to year 2, I will use PVIF here. Here I will use PVIF. So in this case here, come and give us what we call the discount factor. Give us the discount factors. So discount factors, ladies and gentlemen, fortunately, for 10%, we have 10% in our tables, isn't it? 10% is there. Go to the discounting tables. There are 2 of them. There is one which does not have annuity. There is one written lump sum. One written lump sum. Is there somebody who is able to give us from that table 10% end of year 1? From that table, 10% end of year 1, they are telling me it's 0.9091. 10% end of year 1. Is there somebody who is not able to see from that table? It's given there. I've even sent one past paper, which has those tables at the back. So 9091. Thank you so much. How about 10% end of year 2? 10% end of year 2. 10% end of year 2, abracadabra, is 0.82. 0.8264. 0.8264. And then now we have here now we are talking about annuity. Here you have to be very careful. We have to be very careful here, ladies and gentlemen. We have got to be very careful, ladies and gentlemen, here. Annuity. So they want us to give them annuity year 3 to year 5. This needs expansion. So I will take PVIF for 5 years, the upper limit. PVIF for 5 years. And then I'll come and say minus PVIF. You know, when I talk of PVIF for 5 years, I've included all the years, including bad ones. All the years from year 1 all the way to year 5. So tukisema PVIF first 5 years. So umechukua hapa oye 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yet I can see the unwanted. You know, the wanted ones are from year 3 to 5. So if I'm able to see this with my very inner eyes, I'm able to see there is a cut. There are years that are supposed to be cut here. And the years that are supposed to be cut, you can see it is all the way up to year 2. Because the good ones, the wanted ones, are 3 to 5. So I'll come and say minus PVIF year what? Year 2. Minus PVIF year 2. If in this case here, the sorcerers from your home area are very strong, if those sorcerers from your home area are very strong, you'll get somebody saying minus PV for 3. So they subtract a wanted year. You know, the wanted year is 3 to 5. 3 to 5. So I'll always come, pick the PV for how many years? 5 years. The upper limit, that is not disputable, for 5 years. Minus PV now, minus PV for the unwanted. Unwanted is 2. Unwanted is 2. So abracadabra, could you kindly go to your annuity tables, 10% 5. 10% 5, what are we able to see? No, those sorcerers, they cannot really be that strong. It's just a joke. I don't believe in them. So PV 5 years. Remember now we are reading annuity, 10% 5 years. 10% 5 years. Jackie John Mudhiani, 37,908. 37,908 with a decimal there. Minus PV 2. PV 10% is the cost of capital, 2 years. 10% is the cost of capital, 2 years. 2 years. Lawrence Saka, a new student, gives me 17,355. 17,355 decimal. 17,355 decimal. So could you kindly then subtract? Could you kindly then subtract very first? Tell us what are we getting there as the annuity from year 3 to year number 5. So they're telling me here it is 25,553. 25,553 with a decimal there. Why year 2? Yet cash flow of year 1 and the year 2 are irregular. Good question there. Good question there. Good question. So here we are supposed to use 2.0553 like that. 2.0. Our consultant asks, is it PV for 2 or for 3? Let me first of all start by addressing easy questions first. The one consultant is asking is very easy. Let me start with that one. Let me start with this one. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen and listen to me very well. Listen and listen to me very well. If, for example, I get somebody talking over PV 5 to 10. PV 5 to 10. The worst mistake I will do is to come and say PV 10 minus PV who? Minus PV 5. Please, 5 is in the wanted period. 5 is in the wanted period. If I say PV 10, what would this mean is that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. This is PV for first 10 years. But you see, this examiner wants me to start accounting for this PV from year number 5. From year number 5 onwards, 5 to 10. So in this case here, then the unwanted period is the period up to year number what? The unwanted. Remember, I subtract the unwanted. I subtract the unwanted. So I'll come and say unwanted is all the way to year what? Year somebody. Ukiangalia na macho ya ndani. Ukiangalia na macho ya ndani zaidi, you'll be able to see the years they would want us to cut away. If I look at this very well, I'll be able to see they want me to cut up to year what year? Up to year 4. Up to year 4. Up to year 4. So consulata, first of all, are we together up to here? So you don't get mixed up like, should I subtract 3 or should I subtract 2? Great. 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 So if, for example, for lack of, or rather avoidance of doubt, to avoid doubt here, if, for example, somebody tells you it's PV, if somebody tells you it's PV 9 to 12, could you kindly tell me, how will I expand this? How will I expand this? Can somebody try expanding 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 this? PV for 9 to 12. Can somebody try expanding this? It will be PV for what minus PV for what? PV for 12 minus PV for what year? 8. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, another student asked up there, like in this particular case, another student asked there, why should we subtract PV for 2 and yet the first 2 are irregular? And then the first 2 are irregular. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, we are treating this in isolation. In isolation. When somebody says it's PV for 3 to 5, then I'll come and expand this by saying it's PV for 5 minus PV for unwanted. And the PV for unwanted is 2 there. Is 2, right? You can't say you are subtracting PV for, or rather you are taking PV for 5, and then you say minus PV for 2, simply because these are PV. You can't, they cannot marry. They can't marry. It's PV first you are deducting, right? And why is that the case? It's because when you say PV for 5, what does that mean? You are assuming that the first year it was 8, second year, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're assuming that the first year was 8, the second year was 8, the third year was 8, the fourth year was 8, the fifth year was 8, right? And yet I would want to be left with years 3 to year 5, right? So then I will assume that I had these annuities, 5 of them, but I know truthfully that I'm supposed to come and subtract PV for what year? The first 2 are false. They're unwanted. They're unwanted. All right. Then, ladies and gentlemen, could you kindly come and create a column here for present value? Create a column here for present value. For present value. Okay. It will work. Thank you very much, Leon. You have really answered this lady in a very good way, that this will work. But if you start assuming that, for example, all these are, it will really be a very long way, a very long way. Great, great. So please give me these figures. 10 times this one, and now we are discounting. So this becomes 9.091. And then you come and take these times this, 15 times 0.8264. 15 times 0.8264, 12.3, 12.397. And then now we have here 8 by this, 8 by this. What figure are we getting here? The last one. We are getting here 16 point. We have to be consistent. If we started with 3 decimal places, it has to be 3 decimal places throughout. We must be consistent. We must be consistent. So it is 16.442. 16.442, 16.442. So please come and add and give us the total. Come and add and give us the total. You take PV year 1 and 2, then PV for year 3, 4, and 5 separately without accumulating. Without accumulating. Let's work with my method here. My method is very good, Mary. My method is very good. Let's work with my method, all of us. Now we don't want to go to so many methods. 37.929. Thank you so much. 37.929. That is the total present value. Total present value. Total present value, like that. Now, if you look at April 2022, April 2022, this is what we did, and we were able to harass some students who are not studying. The students who are not studying were harassed properly. And indeed, most of them called me. And even I remember one came all the way to Kitengela and said, Mwalimu, you taught us very well. You're going to pass this paper. And the guy failed. The guy failed. I have to tell you why this guy failed. Great. I'm getting very good questions here. What if I use PV all through? What if I use PV all through? What response will you give to such a student? What response will you give to such a student? Are you able to see my screen? Are you able to see my screen? Are you able to see my screen? I would want us to do part B of this question. Part B of this question, April 2022. April 2022. April 2022. April 2022. So we are told here Popo Limited is considering a project requiring an initial cash outlay of shillings 150 million. the project's life is 5 years, after which there would be no expected salvage value. The possible incremental after-tax cash inflows and the associated probabilities of occurrence are given here. So we have probability year 1 was given to us in a very nice way. Conditional probabilities are given here. But now check out this. They gave us from year 2 to year 5, and they were able to throw most of the students of 𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐮𝐬𝐭 under the bus. Imagine you're being thrown from a bus going to 𝐭𝐡𝐶𝐵. You're being thrown under the bus, simply because of a very simple thing, right? Year 2 to year 5. The company's required rate of return for this investment is 12%. Using decision tree analysis, compute the expected net present value of the project. And then they wanted us to compute the standard deviation of the expected net present value in B1 above. Of course, if you got 0 in 1, you must have gotten 0 in 2. So you got 0 out of 8. You got 0 out of 8. So let's do this question. Let's do this question. So first of all, we draw the tree. We draw the tree. Great, great. So you're drawing the tree. Remember, AFM decision trees are very easy to draw. Why? Because normally we start with a box. Money or the box? 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 So in this case here, we have a box. The AFM decision trees are very nice because I'll come and write, even if I understand nothing, I'll write here invest, don't invest, don't invest. And then I'll scare this examiner by telling this examiner that don't invest will attract a 0 cash flow. Not unless I'm a thief. If I don't invest, how do I expect to reap anything? So don't invest. Write for them. In this case here, 0 there. Right? So we are doing April 2022, April 2022. Question number, did I see the question very well, really? So this is question number 5, boy. Question number 5, boy. Question number 5, boy. Question number 5, boy. Great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if we decide to invest today, if we decide to invest today, what are we able to see there? If we decide to invest today, this is what we are able to see. If we decide to invest today, first of all, we shall incur an expense of 150 million. 150 million expenditure will be incurred. 150 million expenditure. We are told here we shall incur an initial outlay of 150 million. The expenditure there will be 150 million. And once we invest like this, what do we expect? Once we have invested like this, we shall go somewhere and wait for the fruits. We wait for the cash flows. And the cash flows, we are told year 1 cash flows, they are probabilistic. You know, anything that is probabilistic, it is slippery. Slippery, you don't know. It can go either way. It is slippery. It can go either way. Either we make this cash flow or we make the other cash flow. So slippery. What we are not able, ladies and gentlemen, to predict with certainty, probabilistic cash flows will always come from a circle. Will always come from a circle. So in this case here, we are told probability year 1. You see, year 1, you could either get 40 or 45. You're not so sure, right? So in this case here, we could either get 40 there or 45. With what probabilities? You can see the probability for year 1, they are given here 0.5 and 0.5. 0.5 and 0.5 like that. Great, great. And then now we go to year 2 cash flows. So could you kindly draw first of all up to here? Remember, these are year 1 cash flows. These are year 1 cash flows. Year 1 cash flows. The moment you draw up to here, could you kindly put a thumbs up to tell me, Mwalimu, we are together up to there, or a thumbs down if you're not able to follow. But any probabilistic occurrence, probabilistic activity can only come from where? From a circle. You can see like now, this is a box node. Box node is normally, they are normally followed using what here? Non-probabilistic. Non-probabilistic. The moment there is a probability somewhere coming, Probabilistic activity, it can only come from a circle like that. Thank you very much. Now we go to year number 2. There are 3 possibilities. Year number 2, there are 3 possibilities depending on the probability, or rather the cash flow that we get. Year number 2, there are 3 possibilities for year number 2. So year number 2, if the cash flow is going to be 40 for year 1, if the cash flow for year number 1 is going to be 40, this one, there are 3 possibilities for year 2 to year 5. So we have 40, 50, 60. So we have 40, 50, 60. If the cash flow is going to be 45, you can see the 3 probabilities. You can see the 3 types of cash flows. So we have 55, we have 55, we have 60, and then we have here 60 what, here 65, like that. And then remember the probabilities that are given here. For 40, probabilities of 40, I can see 0.20. I can see, ladies and gentlemen, 0.60, 0.60, and 0.20. For 45, this 45, I can see the probabilities that are given here. We have 0.1, 0.7, and 0.2. 0.1, 0.7, and then we have 0.2 like that. Great. And then the other thing you're supposed to remember is that these guys have not given you exactly year 2 alone. They have told you this is year 2 to year what? To year 5. Year 2 to year 5, year 2 to year 5, year 2 to year 5, year 2 to year 5. So once you finish again, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, once you finish drawing up to here, could you kindly give me a smiling emoji? If you're able to draw up to there, kindly give me a broadly smiling emoji like that, a nice one. But of course, if you're not able to follow, you're at liberty to give me, in this case here, one that is really frowning emoji. Like that. Yeah, great, 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 great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one bad thing that this examiner was a tricky examiner. Why? Because he introduced this thing of 2 to 5. I liked him because of that. But one small mistake that he did, and he should not do that mistake this time around. He should not do that mistake this time around. He should not do that mistake this time around. How can you as an examiner, honestly, how can you as an examiner at this level, you know, this is not the financial management of intermediate level. This is advanced financial management. As an examiner, how do you give students cost of capital directly? You're crazy. As an examiner at this advanced financial management level, give students here risk-free rate of return. Give students here expected return of the market. Right? Right? And even don't give them beta equity directly. Ask them to use a Hamada's model to compute cost of capital. These students in this case here need to earn this advanced financial management certificate, not in a very easy way. Of course, not also in a very hard way, but at least let them use CPA. And even in this CPA, ensure that they are using a Hamada model. Hamada model, you must give us like 2 questions touching on Hamada model. That's what a good examiner does. Don't give us directly here. We don't want that even as students. Complicate the exam a little bit. So here they gave us 12%. They gave us 12%. So then could you kindly do me a favor? I need some discounting factors here. I need some discounting factors here. I need some discounting factors here. I need for year 1. So please, for year 1, I need you guys to give me PV 12% end of year 1. PV 12% end of year 1. Look at this guy called 𝐬𝐚𝐯. So PV 12% end of year 1. What do we have there, somebody? Could you kindly go to your PV tables? Could you kindly go to your PV tables? Don't use 10%. There are students who are so much used to 10%. I've never understood why. 10%. So in this case here, we have present value interest factor end of year 1, this one here. So we have here 12% minus, very tiny. 12% year 1, 0.8829. Very tiny, really. 8829. Don't use the one of annuity here. Although for year 1 will be the same. Okay, so they're giving me a figure of 89.29. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. 0.8929. And then now we have here, of course, this will be PV, isn't it? Is there somebody who is able to see this is PV when they talk of 2 to 5? Is there somebody who is able to see its PV-FA? Yeah, because it is year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. So in this case, you give me PV-FA year 2 to year 5. Abracadabra, let's see there. PV-FA year 2 to year 5. PV-FA year 2 to year 5. PV-FA year 2 to year 5. I can see what Sharon is saying, and I know I owe Sharon. This weekend has been quite a tough one in terms of commitments for Mwalimu. PV-FA. Yes, you can now see they are able to interpret very well. They're able to year 5 minus year 1. Thank you very much, my home. Year 5 minus year 1. So in this case, what do we have here for PV-FA? So we have here PV-FA 5, 2 to 5 is PV-FA 5 minus PV-FA 1. Don't forget you're using 12% across. Don't forget you're using 12% across. So are you able to read for me PV-FA 5, 12%? PV-FA 5, 12%. So I'll come to my table here. PV-FA 5. PV-FA, remember it's now annuity, yeah? So 12% minor, very tiny, but I can increase here. So 12%, 5 is 3648. 3648. 36048. 360 minus PV-FA 1. PV-FA 1 at 12%, it's here. 8929. 8929. 8929. 0.8929. So could you kindly, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, give me the net? You guys are bright. You guys are bright. You guys are bright. You guys are bright. I'm so sure. So the net is 2.711. 2.7119. 2.7119. And remember, I had shared with you this marking scheme. I'd shared with you this marking scheme. So you must have realized that the examiner gave you some 1 mark there. 0.5, I mean. 0.5. So in an exam, if you guys were to be very honest, in an exam, this one here, 2 to 5, is there anybody who would have been thrown under the bus in an exam situation? Be very honest with me. Is there somebody who would have been thrown under the bus? Be very honest with me. Be very honest with me. Yes, you can see there. Michael says no. I was thrown. You can. So great. So at least now this one is over. This one is over. Now, remember the first thing you will do after you have drawn now this, come and give these branches, give them numbers. So this is branch number 1, branch number 2, branch number 3. This is branch number 4, branch number 5, branch number 6. This is branch 0, nothing. We don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want it. Now, remember, after you draw this, the next thing you're supposed to do is to give us net present value for each branch, ignoring the probabilities. You ignore probabilities and they give us net present value for each branch. Yes, marry those PVFs. PVFs and the PV-FA for year 1, they're always the same. PVF and the PV-FA for year 1, they're always the same. They're always the same. They're always the same, yes. Great. So please go to the branches and give us, net present value, ignoring probabilities. So branch and PVs, ignoring probabilities, so branch number 1. So branch number 1 unakanyaga paka mwisho. Una-assume ni kama barabara, hii ni barabara, unakanyaga paka mwisho, you pick the cash flows. So branch number 1, hii ndio barabara yetu, paka beginning. Street diagram. So tunaanza straight away. Let's start this thing together. So you can start from anywhere, Mayom. You can even decide to start from here. You know, invest is today. Invest is now. You're not going to discount this. So in this case here for branch number 1, it's 150 plus. These are negative, For branch number 1 that I'm following like this, I can see the next cash flow is 40. So I'll take 40 times PVFA for year 1. I'm discounting PVFA for year 1, PVFA for year 1. You guys gave me this figure, 0.89, 0.8929. Plus, so ladies and gentlemen, I can see for branch number 1, we have here 40. There is another cash flow here, 40 times this PVFA year 2 to 5, which you guys gave me this as 2.7119. What will it give us? Which will give us what figure at the end of the day? It will be the same biome. Even if you go up or down, it will always be the same answer. The same answer. So in this particular case, could you kindly give me just your answers in 2 decimal places? 2 decimal places. Remember, as you calculate your branch NPVs, you're always ignoring what here? You're always ignoring probabilities. You're always ignoring probabilities, and I want answers in 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places. I want answers in 2 decimal places. Answers in 2 decimal places. Answers in 2 decimal places. Minus 5.81. Thank you so much. So minus 5.81. That is the answer. NPV for the first branch. Minus 5.81 for the first branch. For the first branch is minus 5.81. Now from there, tuende kwa branch number 2. So branch number 2, I hope you guys are able to see the road. You are able to see the road map. For branch number 2, for branch number 1, can also be PV for year 5, because the cash flows are the same. Cash flows are, no, we don't want to go like that. We don't want to go like that. You may confuse this thing. We don't want to go like that. So go to branch number 2. So in this case here, you should be able to see the road. Always see the road. So if you're a lady, see the road and follow that road with confidence. Like a lady, in this case, is walking, wearing high-heeled shoes. Confidently. Their confidence is normally at a different level. So number 2, the branch, follow it confidently. So pick the cash flows. So the cash flows here, we have minus 150 plus. Are you able to see the cash flows for branch 2? For branch 2. You follow it from here all the way up to Matuine. Matuine is a German word for heaven. You follow it. You follow it like that. So minus 150 plus this 40. 40 I can see is coming to us at the end of year 1. So this has to be discounted. I can see here we have 50. Is it 50? The cash flow is 50 times. Of course, this has to be discounted like that. Is there anybody who is able to give us this figure? Is there anybody who is able to give us this figure? 21.31. 21.31. I don't know why Mary is getting a different figure. Mary, just use your calculator slowly. You say minus 150 plus 40 times this, plus 40 times this. You'll be able to get what everyone else got to really. Abracadabra, here I'm being given 21.31 like that. So can you now kindly go and give me branch number 3? Branch number 3. What are we getting for branch number 3? NPV of branch number 3. NPV of branch number 3. Everybody should work now very hard. Please remember you're walking confidently on the road, like a lady on high-heeled shoes. Mwalimu, you normally give us bad examples. No. My examples are the best. How do we, I'm seeing good questions here. How do we know that the initial outlay is negative? You know, Emma, nobody will tell you that the initial outlay is negative. It's you to know that initial outlay is a cash outflow. I mean, it's money going away for you to get an investment, for you to buy an asset, right? So it will always be negative. Outlay will always be negative. So in this case here, Linda, Naomi Wangare, these ladies, this gentleman, even Lauren Saka, a big name, they're giving me 48.43. So they're giving me 48.43 like that. So go to branch number 4. Branch number 4, Macharia, John Mudhiani. David, how could you get a different answer? Oh, For branch number 4, it's 39.34. Thank you so much. 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 So for branch number 4, branch number 5, branch number 5, what is the net present value? Lily. Lily is our true name. 52.89. 52.89. 52.89 for branch number 5. Branch number 6, 66.45. 66.45. 66.45. 66.45. Is there any branch that you guys would want Mwalimu to do live here to compute its NPV, or are we comfortable we move to the next thing? Any branch that you guys are doubting, that you guys were not able to walk on confidently, like a beautiful lady in a high-heeled shoes? Move on. Thank you very much. Next part. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, after this, then the next one will be for us to compute joint probabilities. So the second step now, or third step, draw the tree, get NPVs, go to the joint probabilities. So come and calculate the joint probabilities for the branches. Branch joint probabilities. So branch joint probabilities. So we have here branch joint probabilities. So we start with branch 1. So again, here confidently we are walking on the road, branch number 1, whatever probabilities you get along the branch, you multiply those probabilities. Joint is the same as joined. You're joining through what your multiplication. It's an and probability. So for branch number 1, I see the first probability is 0.5 times the second probability, which is 0.2. What are we getting as the joint probability here? What are we getting in this case here, the joint probability? So I'm being given a 0.1. 0.1. From there, go to branch number 2. So branch number 2, are you able to see the probabilities? Please walk confidently. Are you able to see the probabilities along the road? Which probabilities are coming here for branch number 2, if you guys are confident enough? Which probabilities are you able to see? Which probabilities are you? So they're telling me it is 0.5 times 0.6, which is 0.2, 0.3, 0.3. Now, can you kindly do the same for all the others? For all the others, give me the joint probabilities for branch number 3. For branch number 3, the joint probabilities, what do we have? Branch probability, branch 3. So David is telling me 0.1. David is telling me 0.1. David killed Goliath. He can't lie. 0.1. 0.1. What have they done to get 0.1 for branch 3? It's 0.2 times 0.5. So go to branch number 4. Branch number 4, is there somebody who is able to give me the joint probability for branch number 4? Branch number 4, Wangare. 0.05. Thank you very much. 0.05. So how about branch number 5? Branch number 5, 0.35. 0.35. And then we have branch number 6 lastly. Branch number 6 lastly, what do we have here? 0.1. Branch number 6 lastly, what do we have there? 0.1. And then, of course, what were you told in quantitative analysis? That the total joint probability, if you were to add the total joint probability, the total joint probability must always be equal to 1. Please try. The total joint probability must always be equal to 1. The total joint probability must always be equal to 1. The total joint probability, if you add all of them, the total joint probability must always be equal to 1. Is there someone who has been able to confirm? Yes. So in an exam, when you are able to compute like that, and then you get the joint probability is 1, then know that you are en route to success. But now the question is, do you think it's really good for you to do that kind of a check in an exam? Is it possible, or rather, is it good for you to check whether you are right in an exam? Is it good to check like that? Is it good? No, 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 no. Because you can imagine, like, if you were to add, and then you get it's coming to 0.7. And automatically, you will really panic. So then after getting the joint probability, what do you think will be the last step? The last step for us, what do you think will be the last step? What do you think? Tata, thank you very much, David. Now we need to do what to multiply. We need to take this NPV, we multiply here. Yeah. So in this case here, the last step, give us NPV times the joint probability. You multiply, you multiply, you multiply, you multiply. We are multiplying now. Very fast, 2 decimal places. What do we have here? 2 decimal places very fast. Yes. So I'm being given that Paul Macau already has gotten an answer. So the first one over here, 2 decimal places. What do we have here? Minus 0.58. Minus 0.58. The second one, this and that. The second one, what do we have here? Patapotea 6.39. 6.39. And then we have the third one. This and this. What are we getting here? We have 6.39 again. No, 4.84. So we have 4.84. And then now we have the last one. The last one. Not last one. 1.97. 1.97, 1.97, and then this and this gives me what figure? 18.52. Brenda. 18.5. 18.52. I'm being given a figure of 18.52. Is this figure correct, really? Is this figure correct? Is this figure correct? 51, They're saying no, should be 18.51. Great. Now the very last one, what do we have here for the very last one? For the very last one, 6.65. Thank you very much. 6.6. So please come and add everything. And whatever we shall get there is called expected net present value. Whatever we shall get here is called expected net present value. Whatever we shall get here is called expected net present value. What do we expect? Please add for us everything. Expected net present value. Expected net present value. Expected, not NPV. This is expected. Expected, I'm being told, is 37.78. Thank you so much. 37.78. And that is what the examiner was asking us in part 1. And because the expected net present value is positive, then in this case here, what recommendation do we give that this project is viable? Because the expected net present value is positive, then straight away we say that the project is viable and should be implemented. The project is viable and should be implemented. So in an exam situation, how many of us in this case here would have gotten this question 100%? How many of us would have gotten this question 100%? Part 1. Please be very honest. Part 1. How many of us would have gotten part 1? See you hapo, Michael 50%. Mayomi is dancing the Ellis. We shall overcome. Ogeto 2 marks. I got it. Great. TD Abbas. Great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after that, these people came and asked us in Roman 2 of this question. They wanted us to give them the standard deviation. The standard deviation of NPV. Number two, kitambo kabisa. So number 2, Nancy Kimathi. Number 2, they want us to give them the standard deviation of NPV. Is there somebody who can remind us the formula? How do we get? Good question there, Julius. Good question there about taxation. I think I should be able to handle that kind of a question separately, so that I don't bring confusion here. So standard deviation of NPV, this is very easy because standard deviation means that you're subtracting. So you take NPV minus expected net present value, which you will square times probability, and then you come on the sum. And then at the end of the day, of course, there must be who? There must be square root. When they tell you to give them the expected, or rather the standard deviation of NPV, you take the NPVs given minus expected net present value. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, then from here, what do we do? Abracadabra. Come on. Oh, I rubbed mine. I don't know whether I'll be able to see them. Why did I rub mine? So, like the first NPV is minus 5.81. The second one is 21.31. The third one, I can't see it very well, really. Abracadabra may fail. Ebuni party in some easy NPV 48.43, 48.43. Yeah, in a J. Yeah, in a like the portfolio standard deviation, although you now use NPV. So 39.34, 39.34, 39.34, 39.34. And then the next one is 52.89, 52.89, 52.89. And then I can see 66 point something, 66.45. And then now we have the very last, this I think is the very last one. This is the very last one. So abracadabra, you come and subtract T. Expected net present value is this one here. So we have here 37.78, 37 point. This one does not fluctuate. Expected NPV is always the same throughout. I always get students using this formula as these values as expected. No, it should be the total here. So 37.78. 37.78, 37.78, 37.78, 37.78. Oh yeah. Abracadabra, you come here straight away, you square. I hope you guys are able to see the probabilities. So remember, the probabilities we shall use here are the joint probabilities. The probabilities we shall use here are the joint probabilities now. They're the joint probabilities. They're the joint probabilities. They're the joint probabilities, which in this case, I would want you guys to give me the figures. So we have 0.1 there. The first one was 0.1. How about the second one? Give me the figures very first. The second one is 0.3. The third one is 0.1 again. The fourth one, 0.5. This fifth one, 0.0. The fifth one, 0.35. 0.35, the fifth one. No, they are telling me it is 0.05 here. 0.05. The fifth one. How about the fifth one? 0.1. The fifth one, they're saying is 0.1. Oh, they're giving me different figures. The fifth one, they're telling me it's 0.35. How about the very last one now? The very last one now is 0.1. Thank you very much. So please, could you kindly come and give me these answers very fast? 2 decimal places. Give me these answers very fast. 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places. So remember, you take your calculator, you say open bracket minus 5.81 minus this, you close, you square, times 0.1, and then you give me 2 decimal place answer. 2 decimal place answer. 𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐞𝐿 is giving me at a David 190. Thank you very much. Go to the second one, say open bracket 21 minus 21.31 minus 37.78. You say squared times 0.3. I'm being given a figure of 81 point something. 81 point something. Oh yeah, I'm alone. 81.38. I'm being given a figure of 81.38. 81.38. Are we together there? 81.38. Please go to the third one now. Third one, what do we have there? The third one. The third one, abracadabra. The third one, according to the V, it's 11.34. 11.34. 11.34. How about the fourth one? Thank you very much, Nicole. Nicole, your name is nice. Nicole. 0.12. 0.12. 0.12. 0.12. Omar, thank you very much. After 0.12, we go to the next one. Abracadabra. The fifth one now. The fifth one, what do we have there? The fifth one, it is 79.91. 79.91. And then now we have the last one. The last one, abracadabra. The last one, abracadabra. 82.20. And then there is nothing I've never ever understood up to now. This is something I've never understood, especially from very bright students. You'll get some bright students after they get these numbers, they'll come and put a square root here, a square root there. And then when you ask them, they'll tell you, Mwalimu, what about this? They forget that there is a plus first. There is some summation to be done there. It must be certain. Eh? There is some summation. You must first of all sum them without the square root t. So could you kindly give me the total here, which is a variance as per this summation, the total. The total, according to Paul Macau, is 444, 44495, 44495. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after that, please come and give me the square root there, 44495. Is there somebody who can now give me the standard deviation there? The standard deviation is 21.09. Any student who was able to reach up to here got a cool 4 plus 4, a cool 8 marks. So out of the 8 marks, how many marks would have you gotten honestly? How many marks would have you gotten honestly out of the 4? Just 2. So 2. We shall overcome. So what I would want you to do, please ensure that you repeat this question. Ensure that you repeat this question almost immediately. So if you allow me, I'll go to part A of this question. If you allow me, I'll go to part A of this question. Part A of this question. Part A of this question. Can we go to part A of this question? Can we go to part A of this question? Yes. So part A was also a very interesting question. You know, as good examiners, we are able to see what these students expect. So they'll know, like now you'll get so many guys telling you that, you know, mergers and acquisitions will come. So what I'll do, I'll listen. If I'm an examiner, of course, I'm not an examiner. I'll listen. Saying it will come. Okay, no problem. We give you what you expect. But ensure that we twist that question in a way that when you come, in this case here from Casneb Towers, as Lucy is telling us there, everything will be hot. You wonder even whether you have been in anybody's classroom for the last 3 months. You and someone who has never been in anybody's classroom, there is no difference, which is very bad, which is very bad, which is very bad, which is very bad, which is very bad. So like now this question here, Songo Limited, should have been Sonko, has decided to acquire Twiga Limited. So meaning that Songo is the predator, Twiga is the who, Twiga is the who, the targeted company. The financial data for the two companies are given as follows. All right. So we have the net sales, we have the profit after tax, we have number of issued shares, we have earnings per share, we have dividends per share, we have total market capitalization. Total market capitalization. And then number 1, they want us to give them pre-acquisition market price per share of the combined firm. Quite confusing. It's pre-acquisition, but for the combined firm. For the combined firm. So here, I'm so sure the 2 marks, I'll be able to snatch them away from students. And really, that is the intention of any good examiner, snatching marks from students. Snatching marks from students. Snatching marks from students. I'm so sure these marks already have gotten them away from you. As a good examiner, I appreciate that my students and myself, of course, in this case here, we are in a tug of war. I'm holding this rope by this other side. They are on the other side. So it's a tug of war. Who is going to win this thing? Mine is to snatch away as many marks as possible from them. And then, of course, the students also would want to get everything 100%, and then they embarrass me. They embarrass me. Let's see who will embarrass the other. Great. So Roman 1. So they want us to give them market price per share of the combined firm. It's theoretical normally. It's theoretical. It's theoretical. It's theoretical, eh? Theoretical. So then how do we get this? So then this one here will be the total value, the total farm value, the total farm value all over the total number combined number of ordinary shares, combined number of ordinary shares, combined number of ordinary shares, combined number of ordinary shares. Remember, total farm value is the same as a market capital, market capitalization. This is the same as market capitalization, market capital. I like calling it market capital. So remember, you can't talk of exchange ratio, right? Because it's pre-acquisition. They simply want you to do a theoretical combination, a theoretical combination. So have they given us the market capital of both firms? Oh, yes. What they have done here, they have given me here total market capitalization. So for Songo, it's 420. For Songo, it's 420. 420 plus market capital, the value of Twiga is 45, divided by number of ordinary shares of the first company. Number of ordinary shares of the first company. I can see number of issued shares are 7.5 and the other one is 1.5. Here we are not exchanging anything. We are simply looking at how do we get the price per share, assuming that there are no synergies which will accrue because of the two firms coming together. So in this case, you're divided by 7.5 plus 1.5 there. So could you kindly give me the numerator here? Could you kindly give me the numerator? Kindly give me the numerator here. Give me the numerator for 20 plus 45. This gives me 465. 465 divided by this plus this gives me how much? 9. So in this case here, then what is this market price per share? Combined farm pre-acquisition. What do we call the theoretical? The theoretical. So theoretical, in this case here, I'm being given 51.67 like that, 51.67 like that. So who would have gotten these marks from the other? Would have you gotten the 2 marks, or I would have, okay, would have you gotten the 2 marks? Somebody. This theoretical. Market price per share. No. I would have gotten them. A sadist of an examiner. Imagine this kind of a man. This kind of a man who does this kind of questions to students. Will they see the door to heaven? Will they see the door to heaven? Will they see a door to heaven? No, the mistake is students' mistake. Trust you me. Because these students, but again, I can't blame them, because these are those students, even if you give them, for example, portfolio questions, like 3, like I'm really expecting a question from that end. Send them in good time. You guys try these questions before we meet. You realize that the guys who have done the questions, they are less than 10. But of course, maybe most of them had the class. How many of us have done those 3 questions on portfolio that I sent? 3 questions of portfolio that I sent earlier. 3 questions of portfolio that I sent earlier. Done 2. We work with market capitalization. We're working with market capitalization. Not yet. Oh, we had AFR. They had a paper. So please ensure that you look at those questions. Ensure that you look at those questions. Where I come from, people say that the very best you can do is to take a cow to the river. But you cannot force the cow to drink water, can you? You cannot force the cow to drink water. I can only take you to the river. I can only take you to the river. Oh, okay. Yeah. So there are 5 units. There are 5 units, and they must pass. Which questions? Mudiani has not seen them yet. There is somebody who advised us that there is a way in WhatsApp you can pin. You can pin and say, for example, you want to be seeing messages from Walimu alone. You don't want to be seeing messages from any other person. Elaborate on this. I'll be able to elaborate. Tonight, what I'm doing, Tonight, what I'm doing tonight is basically this question given by who? Given by 𝐵𝐶𝐻, which was quite on real estate videos. Great. Nancy has not seen any, but we shall overcome, Nancy. We shall overcome. The thing is, please, if possible, ensure that you ask for some leave days, Ensure that you ask for some leave days. Ask for some leave days. Ask for some leave days, even if they are unpaid leave days. Even if they are unpaid leave days, it's important. Now, from there, we go to Roman 2. Roman 2, post-acquisition earnings per share if 𝐵𝐻𝐸 Limited shareholders are offered a share of ⁻30 on a share-for-share exchange. You know, this question is very interesting. And I can tell you where this examiner was coming from. But you see here, this is quite an easy one. A bright student will be able to get all the marks there. Why will a bright student be able to get all the marks there? This is basically the normal post-acquisition EPS. Post-acquisition EPS. And here I have to give you a story, and it's a story that I've given you severally. Post-acquisition. Like myself, when I was getting married, of course, I went to the DEO's office, the registrar's office, and did, in this case here, that wedding, post-acquisition EPS. So after acquisition, the African way, the lady, of course, changes her name, the fourth name becomes mine. So I own her, right? We shall overcome. So it means, ladies and gentlemen, that post-acquisition earnings will be equal to my earnings plus our own earnings, isn't it? All over, in this case here, we have number of ordinary shares of company 1 plus number of shares of company 2 times, in this case here, what we call exchange ratio. PA stands for post-acquisition earnings per share. Post-acquisition earnings per share. Please, once you write up to here, could you kindly put a thumbs up? Equals earnings of company 1 plus earnings of company 2 all over number of ordinary shares of company 1 plus number of ordinary shares of company 2. This is supposed to be number of ordinary shares of company 2. Please write this in full times exchange rate. So remember, when you combine these earnings, husband's earnings, wife's earnings, you have to put this together, because, you know, now we're looking at post-acquisition. You must put this together in some account, joint account, and then ensure that the only person who is a signatory to that account is the husband. That's why we are the heads of the family. Right. And the moment you do that, your husband will be very sober, and you'll see everything going on very well in your family. 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 Very well. Great. Yes. Forget why. So earnings of company 1, when it's post-acquisition EPS, so it's earnings of company 1 plus earnings of company 2 all over number of ordinary shares of company 1 plus number of ordinary shares of company 2 times who? Exchange ratio times exchange ratio. So could you kindly calculate the exchange ratio for me in this question? Please come here and calculate the exchange ratio. Exchange ratio for me in this question. Is there somebody who is able to tell us the formula we're going to use here? Exchange ratio in this question. Thank you very much, David. Thank you very much, David. Exchange ratio is the offer price. It is the offer price all over MPS of Predator. MPS of, these are marks which are coming straight away. Marks which are coming straight away to me. So the offer price is how much? In this question, what is the price which has been offered? What is the offer price? In this question, the offer price is 30. 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 They've told us here, post-acquisition EPS, if 𝐵𝐻𝐸 Limited's shareholders are offered a share of 30, on a share for share exchange. And then when you look at, ladies and gentlemen, I would rather be a little bit silent here. Is there somebody who can give me the market price of the predator here? Let me be silent a little bit. Is there somebody who can give me the market price of the predator here? Is there somebody who can give me the market price of the predator? The market price of the predator? Yes, I can see the market price of the predator. It is the total market capital, which is 420. The total market capital, which is 420, divide this by the number of shares issued, which are 7.5. MPS, 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 divided by, like that. MPS of the predator. MPS of the predator. You take the market capital, you divide by number of ordinary shares of Songo, like that. So abracadabra, is there somebody who can say 30 divided by open brackets for 20 divided by 7.5? And then you give me this exchange ratio in the form of a fraction. In the form of a fraction, what do we have there? Hirubo is asking a very good question. Why can't we use that EPS? EPS of the target over EPS of the, that is what we call maximum exchange ratio. We use that maximum exchange ratio, the non-diluting exchange ratio, when offer price is not given. When the offer price is given, whenever the offer price is given, somebody is saying they're not able to see the 30. When the offer price is given, there is this offer price in the question. Shareholders are offered a share of 30 on a share for share exchange. When the offer price is given, we normally calculate the normal exchange. Remember, we have got two types of exchange ratios. We have got two types of exchange ratios. We have the normal exchange ratio, and then number two, we have what we call the maximum exchange ratio, the MER, maximum exchange ratio. The maximum exchange ratio is the one who take EPS of the target over EPS over the predator. Are we together up to there? Are we together? Are we together? Are we together up to there? Yes, and they're telling me that the final answer is 15 over 28. Is there somebody who has not been able to get this? Is there somebody who has not been able to get this? Is there somebody who has not been able to get this? Raphael, great. Is there somebody who has not been able to get this 15 over 28? What's the question? EPS 3.8 for final answer. Final answer. So there's nobody who is saying they haven't been able to get this. So let's then get back to this. So remember, this is earnings of company one. Earnings of company one is the profit after tax. Earnings of company one is the profit after tax ya Songo. Songo profit after tax wamesema ni ngapi? 28.13. 28.13 plus profit after tax of Twiga, which is 3.75. 3.75 all over. Number of ordinary shares. Number of ordinary shares of Songo, 7.5, 7.5, plus, ladies and gentlemen, we have a number of ordinary shares of Twiga, 3.75, no, 1.5, I mean, times 15 over 28. So abracadabra, first of all, start by getting the numerator. Get the numerator first. Get the numerator first. Get the numerator first. The numerator. You add the two, you give me an answer. I write here. Give me the numerator, this plus this. What are we getting here, somebody? According to Mandevi, 31.88. This is 31.88. How about this 7.5 plus this times 15 over 28? What are we getting there? What are we getting there? Ciao, Wangare, Walter, Nancy Kimathi. What are we getting here? $4.82. Thank you so much. 4.82. So then could you come here and divide this and this? Divide the two. Divide the two. What are we getting here? 3.84. 3.84. Although inside my heart, clean heart, I'm so sure that there is somebody who has not gotten this figure. There is somebody who has not gotten this figure. Please try never to hide anything. Never to hide anything. Here we don't have spouses here. You know, there is somebody who told me that when you see like a big vehicle, even small vehicles, you see in this case here, two people seated inside, man and wife, or rather lady and a man. And then they happen not to be talking to one another. They're not talking at all. Those are couples. But if you see them laughing, they're not couples. Now here I would want to encourage people to keep on talking. Don't fear anything because, I mean, there are no couples here. Do we have any couple here really? Do we have any couple? Do you have any couple here? Keep on talking. I mean, don't fear anything. They are couples setting up to reach home. We shall overcome, okay? You never know, eh? 31.88 divided by 4.82. Ani munga inakuja ngapi? Huyu anapata 8.30. I don't know. Body mass, according to body mass, it is 4.82. Body mass. Thank you very much for bringing up that thing. Please remember, don't take 7.5 plus 1.5 equals. No. You say 7.5 plus 1.5 in the calculator, you continue times 15/28, and then you say equals at the end of it because of body mass. So denominator, I'm being told is supposed to be 8.3. Denominator, I'm being told here is supposed to be 8.3. Denominator is supposed to be 8.3 like that. So then the final answer is supposed to be equal to who? The final answer, Leah Simon, I promised to call, but you need to forgive your father. Muru anasema watu wajibu body mass hapa. Muru, don't blame anybody. Body mass haina respect. Body mass hata hijiko kwa masters. Ni mbaya. 3.84. Thank you very much. So in an exam situation, how many marks would have you gotten for this question? All? Thank you very much. Michael, 0. But at least I'll give you a secret after this. Repeat on exchange ratio. Mohammed, 0. Exchange ratio. So what I'll do, Macharia, here for exchange ratio, I would want you guys to watch. There is a video which I'll recommend to you on this. There are only 2 videos under mergers, which I'll recommend to you. There are only 2 videos under mergers, which I'll recommend to you guys, and you'll be sorted on this angle. And please don't ignore these videos I normally give you towards the end. Don't ignore them. If you want to be on the safe side, if you want us to meet at ISPAC, or in the data analytics paper, don't ignore this. I know you are busy, although I really doubt. What I know with accountants, you guys, it's either you are getting a lot of money at your workplace or something. Accountants are lazy people. They're lazy people. They keep on procrastinating. They don't know what we call project management. Because like if it's a project, I'm taking this thing as a project. I mean, I'll be able to come up with like activities. What will I do? What should I need to push myself. Now you get accountants, the way I have studied, you're not the only ones. The way I've studied accountants, most of them, they don't like pushing themselves. Really. I don't know what. Are they lazy, or most of them have a lot of work? Yes, I would want you to watch this video of May 2017 question 5A. Everybody has to watch this video. May 2017, May 2017, question number 5A. May 2017, question number 5A. Need break for monotony. Procrastinate. May 27. There's a lady I saw. This lady has done a very good analysis of this video. She has most of the videos. I don't know how she even was able to capture them in PDF. Is there some way that somebody can be able to retrieve this video and send it to the group? It doesn't matter how good you are in mergers. Everybody must watch this video. And then when you are good in these videos, you don't watch them in the normal speed. Watch them at 1.5 speed. Watch them at 1.5 speed. Don't watch them at the normal speed of 1. Watch them at 1 point. Do you know how to increase your speed, video speed? Do you know how to increase your video speed? Yes, you need to know how to increase your video speed. I know two will be too much. 2 will be too much. 2 will be. Child does not know. I believe now somebody will be able to show Chao how to do it. I believe somebody will be able to show Chao how to do it. Mayom, you need to know this. Somebody will be able to show you tonight how to do it. Now, there is somebody who wants a break. There is somebody who wants a break. I said, oh, I'm not a lady, Ogero. So then, Ogero, please do us a favor. Do us a favor. Please try to retrieve this from mergers. Try to retrieve this video, and then you share tonight. Great. No break. It's very bad. I don't know how I forgot to give you breaks. I don't know how I forgot to give you breaks. Roman 3. So we go to Roman 3, yeah? So can we take a break when it's on? We are left with 20 minutes of time. Can we take a break now, really? Because if I take a break like myself, now I sit down, I'm so sure I'll not now stand. I'm sure I'll not stand. I'm sure I'll not stand. Let's just finish. We finish the question. Let's finish the question. Let's finish the question. Let's continue. Finish. So Roman 3. If the price earnings ratio of Songo Limited drops to 12 times after the acquisition, now they want us to determine something very nice that we used here to snatch some marks from students. We use this to snatch 2 marks from students. Determine the firm's post-acquisition MPS. MPS. This is a very nice one. Determine the firm's post-acquisition MPS. Determine the firm's post-acquisition. Determine the firm's post-acquisition MPS. Determine the firm's post-acquisition MPS. This is quite an interesting one. I like post-acquisition MPS so much. It's very easy. It's very easy because of what here? It's very easy because of this. Remember, for you to be able to get generally the PE ratio, how do we get PE ratio? It is MPS over EPS. So when they tell me to make MPS the subject of the formula, MPS here will be PE ratio times EPS. So when they want me to give them post-acquisition MPS, I will leave the PE ratio the way it is, and then we multiply this with the post-acquisition EPS. Very important. Very important. So is it possible for you to write this formula? And if possible, please highlight this with a yellow highlighter. So we go back to our yellow highlighter. Yellow highlighters are very nice. Yellow highlighters. Tulinyoroshwa pako nakubali sasa tunarudi kwa yellow highlighter. Yellow, all of us are now yellow. This cousin doesn't require breaks. Right? PE ratio times EPS. Yes. So in this case here, post-acquisition EPS equals, do we have this PE ratio? 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 Do we have, yes, they've given us the PE ratio. Yes, they have given us here the PE ratio. They have given us here the PE ratio. The PE ratio is given here as 12 times. The PE ratio is given here as 12 times. 12 times post-acquisition EPS. Today, if there is anybody who has really gone silent, it's Sharon Kendi. Sharon Kendi has gone very silent. I don't know why. The higher you go, the cooler it becomes. The higher you go, no, it should not be cooler really. We need in this case here to sustain the tempo, isn't it? It has to be sustained to the end. Times the post. Is there somebody who is able to remember this post-acquisition EPS? We got it somewhere. We got this somewhere. We got this somewhere. We got this post-acquisition EPS somewhere as 3.84. We got it somewhere. We got this somewhere. We got this somewhere. We got this somewhere. Okay, I knew there must be something wrong. Quick recovery, Sharon. We shall overcome. I'll give you a secret. You don't have to be sick. I'll give you a secret. When exams are near, I'll give you a secret. Because I'm so sure people start now falling sick. Yeah, because of blood pressure going up a little bit. The better the hotter the environment. I have lots of secrets. I'll give you secrets. So what figure are we getting here post-acquisition? 46 point what here? 0.08. Thank you very much. How many of us would have gotten this correctly? Anybody would have gotten this correctly? Paul Macau, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Not me, but I believe now you'll be able to get it correctly. So now we have number 4, where they want us to formulate a suitable criteria that should guide Songo Limited in determining whether to acquire Twiga Limited or not. Ladies and gentlemen, the first criteria will be the dilution of EPS. I'll not want to acquire a company that will lead to my EPS going down. I don't want to acquire such a company. I would want my EPS in this case here to remain where it was, and if possible, to even go up. So the first thing, the first criteria is what we call the non-diluting offer price. Not offer price, but exchange ratio. So I would want somebody in this case here to give me as a criteria. Is there somebody who is able to calculate for me? For them to stick. Julius, yes. I'll give you. So in this case here, the criteria come and give me, in this case here, number 1, the maximum exchange ratio. Maximum exchange ratio. Is there somebody who is able to remind us the formula of getting maximum exchange ratio? Is there somebody who is able to remind us the formula of getting this maximum exchange ratio? You guys are letting me down. You guys are letting me down. EPS of the target company over EPS of predator. So it is EPS of target company. EPS of target company over EPS of the predator company. Yes. So are you able, ladies and gentlemen, are you able to see this EPS of the target company? Is there somebody who is able to see EPS of the target company from the question? From the question, is there somebody who can see the EPS of the target company? Is there somebody who can see the... Right. Thank you very much. Target company is Twiga. So you talk of 2.5 over 3.75, right? 2.5 over 3.75. In form of a fraction, what do we have here, somebody? In form of a fraction, what do we have there? 2.5 over 3.75 using your calculator. So in this case here, the maximum exchange ratio is 2 over 3. These are very important criteria. That I will give 2 shares as the predator company. For how many shares here? For 3. I can't allow to give them like 4 shares for 3. No. So the maximum there is 2 over 3. If they wish to give me more, for example, I give them 2, they give me 4, no problem. For my case, I'm fixed on giving them 2 shares for 3 as a minimum on their side, for 3 as a minimum on their side. If they would wish to give me more, no problem. But my side, it is 2 over 3. That's a very good criteria when I'm thinking about what here, when I'm thinking about acquiring. I don't want to dilute my EPS. So I must consider the maximum exchange ratio. Very important. The other thing, ladies and gentlemen, that I have to consider here is the debt ratio, although they haven't given me. Yes. So my here we are not calculating in DOP, although you can also calculate it as a criteria. as a criteria, right? And then you can also use that approach to get this maximum exchange ratio. So in this case here, the other criteria I would want to look at, ladies and gentlemen, is the debt ratio. Debt ratio. I'll not want to acquire a target company that will increase my debt stroke gearing ratio. If the targeted company has got a high gearing ratio, then it has got poison. I'm swallowing, in this case here, poisonous targeted company, I will die. So debt ratio as a criteria, I would want to acquire a target company that can even reduce this debt ratio. Very, very important. Very, very important. Like that. Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, the thing that I would want you to do, I would want you to ensure that you watch this particular video before I answer the question on what here. I answer the question on before I answer the question on how can we master these formulas easily. I liked question number 3 so much. Question number 3 was able to capture these Modigliani and Miller propositions, which so many students got 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then they had a very easy part here, which of course I don't expect this time round, although it's good to master this. They had a very good, easy, very low-hanging fruit in part D. The current market price per ordinary share of Kanga Limited is 58. A call option exists on the company shares with an exercise price of 52 and with 6 months to maturity. The option can only be exercised on maturity. That is, it's a European option. How can they give you that kind of a leading answer? The risk-free rate of return is 6%, and the variance of the rate of return on the shares is 15%. Using Black-Scholes option pricing model, estimate the value of the call option for 6 marks. And then they gave us a formula there. Quite a nice examiner. An examiner will go to heaven, really, because they've given us the formula of D1, they've given us the formula of D2, they've given us value of a call option. So out of those 6 marks, how many marks will you be able to get yourself? How many marks will you be able to get yourself out of those 6 marks? How many marks will you get? All. I love that. All. I can't miss any marker there. I can't miss any marker there. So I would want you guys to try doing that question, and then we compare notes later, and don't ignore part 1, which is talking about theories. Of course, you know theories must be there in your exam. You should be able to see these things. If you're a good student who knows how to dream about good things when you sleep, there are some of us who only dream about money. How do I make money? They don't know how to dream about other good things, like now, what do we expect in exams? When you dream so keenly, you'll be able to see what will come. You don't even need anybody's guidance. You can know. Otherwise, thank you very much for tonight. We shall be talking on Thursday at 5. Thursday at 5 a.m. And thank you very much. You guys are really growing this class. You're making this class, in this case, here to be very big. Now I saw we are at about 209. That means that Mwalimu has gotten good money this semester. Mwalimu, God loves Mwalimu. Thank you so much. Be blessed. Good night. Bye-bye.